Dad, come here. I finished my book.
Coming. Let me see. Oh, Colton, that came out really good.
Could you help me put together like it's a book now?
Yeah, sure. I could do that. How am I going to do that? What would MacGyver do?
Hey, let's use my chewing gum.
Yeah, that could work. We could take the gum and put it in between the pages. Wait a minute. I got a better idea. Hold on. I know it's in here. Hold on. Ha-ha! Duct tape.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, duct tape. We'll just put duct tape on the end of it. Duct tape always works, right? Here we go.
Hello, and welcome to Screen Bites with Lainey. I'm Lainey, and the guy to my left is my dad. What's on the menu today?
Today we have leftovers.
Ooh.
It's a retro review. We're going to look at the 1980s TV series MacGyver. Now, MacGyver happens to be one of my favorites from when I was younger. And I introduced it to you because you had been watching, I think it was iCarly. Mm-hmm. You'd been watching iCarly, and it came to an end, and you just were like depressed because it was over. And I was trying to find something to kind of to fill the gap for you, that you might get excited about. And I know you loved science, so I introduced you to MacGyver. And you liked it.
Yes, very much. I loved it.
And now we're talking about something that was made in the early 80s, right? So we're talking nearly 40 years ago. And while there is a modern reboot of this, that's something we don't watch, because even though I'm not quite sure, but even though MacGyver in that version might not use violence, everybody he works with does. They use weapons and what have you. So it kind of, for me, it doesn't fit the same kind of
the gist of the story.
Of the original. So we don't watch that one. But you like this older one, and it has older references and everything else. How come?
Because instead of using, MacGyver, using guns and things to kill people, he uses science. So he can make an exploding thing happen so people will kind of back off and he can get out. Or he'll use like a smoke thing so no one can see him get out of the situation he's in.
Right. So if he uses a gun, he doesn't use it as a weapon. He uses it as some kind of a tool in order to create some scientific thing, which is sort of one of these Rube Goldberg kind of inventions that you have no idea where he's going with it, and he creates something that gets him out of a situation and helps people without hurting anybody else. And that was unique in the 80s. We had, now I'm not knocking these other shows, but you had shows like the A-Team and Hunter and different series where there was a lot of violence involved. And even though nobody was killed in the A-Team, you never saw anybody killed. They would shoot a million bullets and the Jeep would flip over and everybody would walk away. It would be fine. But they still, were using a gun as a gun and shooting bullets at people. And MacGyver never does that.
Right.
And science was a big thing in that. And like you said, so what other things appealed to you about this?
I like MacGyver himself. I think that when he tries to help other people, or when he's just on a vacation and something happens that he apparently has to figure something out for it, I always think it's either funny or it's like, wow, I can't believe he does that. Because it's so cool to me.
It's very similar. We mentioned when we were reviewing Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, there's a lot of similarities because it's an adventure of the week. Right. Buck is just a nice guy. MacGyver is just a good guy.
Yes.
And he helps people out because he's kind. And he wants to help people. And, the nature of that is appealing. I mean, it seems to appeal to you because those are two of your favorite shows from what you've said.
Yes.
And frankly, they're two of my favorite shows. Now, do you like them just because I like them, or do you like them because you like them?
I like them because I like them.
Right. And I can back that up by saying I've tried to show you Battlestar Galactica, which I also love. I love Battlestar Galactica very much. We've tried that a couple times. That one just doesn't appeal to you.
No.
Even though it's a Glenn Larson show and it's almost a sister series to Buck Rogers, that doesn't appeal to you.
No.
So, a lot of times we get comments where people say, oh, she just likes it because you like it and you're her dad. Is that the case?
No.
Okay. Now, for me, I do love this show. I tried to rewatch it some years before I introduced it to you, and I had a little trouble. I was like, oh, wow, these move a lot slower than I thought they did, and this was a lot weaker than I thought it was. But in fact, I was judging it by a different scale. I was everything that's come since MacGyver, of course, influences me. And so I was kind of looking at it in comparison to that, and you can't do that. So I kind of went into a vacuum and just watched it for what it was, and then watching it with you, I kind of fell in love with the show all over again. I will say I like the early seasons better. I think that the network or the production company kind of scaled back the budget in the later seasons. So while the early seasons were more cosmopolitan and jet setting, you know what I mean? Because he bounced around the world. You know, he was like a secret agent. He traveled around the world, and we got to see all different cultures and him in different settings and doing different things. And I really liked that part of it. As the show went on, he was more based in the United States and handling more local problems like, you know, drug problems in a community or things like that. You know, so, and I think that's because they scaled the budgets back. And maybe, you know, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner early on because it's like, how much more can we do internationally? I don't know. But I do like those early seasons better. I don't dislike the later seasons, but I think the early seasons are more fun for me, more. You know, I think it's certainly a combination of James Bond and Indiana Jones. And you've seen Indiana Jones. And, you know, he has that element to it. He also has a James Bond element. And I think, you know, TV shows often do that. They try to capitalize on movies.
Yes.
So while Indiana Jones was popular and James Bond was popular, we'll take those two ideas, put them together, and we'll do the show called MacGyver, right?
Yeah.
Like Three Men and a Baby. That was a popular movie. And then there was a TV show called Full House, which was a very similar setup to that. So they do that a lot. All right. What else do you want to say about it?
No.
Who are your favorite characters?
MacGyver and Pete and Penny.
Yeah, you really like Penny a lot. Yes. Yep. MacGyver is obviously my favorite character. I like Pete a lot. He sort of was added in after a couple episodes. He comes into it. They tried to add a female agent in there early on. I can't think of her name. They tried to put her in for a few episodes. I actually liked her. I thought she was quite good. And then I don't know whether they wrote her out or she wanted to leave the show. She kind of left after a little bit. Jack Dalton comes in. Now, when I was going to rewatch this, I thought back and I was like, oh, Jack is so annoying. When I rewatched it, I didn't find him to be that annoying. And he's actually not in the series as much as I thought he was. He's in a few episodes, but he's not in nearly as much as I remembered him being in there. Penny's in a few episodes.
Yes, she's not in a lot, but she's in just enough that I really like her.
Right, and she would go on to do, you know, she became Lois Lane in the Lois and Clark TV series. She went on to do bigger things. She was actually in a James Bond film, but this is the first thing I really remember her in. This is sort of my introduction to her. Yeah, so, and you like the theme song, I know that.
Yes, I love the theme song.
Yeah. Well, anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Well, would you recommend this?
Totally.
All right, so yummy or crummy for you?
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
This is definitely a yummy. If you liked it before and you haven't checked it out in a while, I would say go back and watch it. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
You can get it there, and of course you can buy it from iTunes or Amazon. If it's something you've never seen before, I would say give it a chance. You have to remember the references are all 80s. I mean, you were watching an episode the other day, and you were talking about the phone, the cell phone, which was
ginormous.
Massive.
Right? It's bigger than my two hands.
And you were like, what is that? I'm like, it's a phone. So, you know, of course, it's dated in some of that, but I still think the message of it holds up, you know? His mind is the ultimate weapon, right?
Yeah.
You know? And we still, I mean, it's in the dictionary now, I think. MacGyver, you can find it in the dictionary.
Really?
It says, you know, to solve a problem by using, you know. So I think you can look it up.
Cool.
Well, anyway, there was a poster online where it had MacGyver in the dictionary. If it's on the internet, it's true, right? All right. Well, it's definitely a yummy for both of us. If you like the video, please click like down below.
And if you want to subscribe, I'd say do it.
All right. So we'll see you next time. Chewy.
A little.
Yes,